I hate you. I hate all of you. I dream of the moment when I bathe this blade in your blood. That was a little too rough. Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another comically long review. I know I normally switch back and forth between the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Go-Go Power Rangers series, so some of you may have been expecting to see Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issues 40 and 41 today. However, like I said at the end of my last comically long review, I didn't feel right starting off the Necessary Evil arc without getting both series to that point. And we've got one more issue to get there for Go-Go. Well, sort of one more issue. Heroes, let's talk about oversized issues. Sometimes when a story arc is coming to a head, but there's just a little too much story left to tell for a single issue, publishers will put out oversized issues, slightly longer and slightly more expensive issues to wrap up the whole arc before moving into a major event. That's what I'm reviewing for you today. Let's wrap up the Alpha 1 arc and really everything pre-Necessary Evil by taking a look at Go-Go Power Rangers, Forever Rangers. The main cover is really a summary of everything so far. Zordon, the Megazord, Tommy, Alpha 5, Ranger Slayer, the Gravezord, and central to it all, the Rangers. And below them, the people that they are. And this is a wraparound cover with the backside giving us a look at some of the villains. Rita Repulsa looms largely over everything, of course, but we've also got Goldar, Squat Babu and Finster, Alpha 1, and a nice touch, I think, especially for the size and relevance of this character, Matt. Of course, being Putty Duplicate Matt. Nice little anime-esque shot of the Rangers hanging out. Similar shot in their more chibi-like style of the Rangers hanging out below a digital billboard showing them all, Tommy included in both. By the by, nice subtle reference here, maybe not that subtle, as a truck drives by with the Jew Ranger morpher depicted on it. Know what an odd through line of Go-Go has been? This fair. All of the Rangers attend this time, winning the odd plushies of villains. And going back to how I get covers from both Comic Vine and Ranger Wiki, this one was only on the latter, a San Diego Comic-Con variant that is a very artistic picture of the helmetless Rangers below the Megazord. You know one of my issues with this whole over 10,000 years ago thing? We've seen various time frames within that. So I get the differences of 10 to 20 years really don't mean much in the face of 10,000 years, but still it makes a time frame kind of hard to pin down. So anyway, Alpha 5 is sending out a distress call. He says Zordon is dead, sacrificing himself to imprison Rita and protect the universe. Alpha is saddened, feeling that he failed Zordon. He's following Zordon's final wishes, sending his coordinates out to any allies that may require his assistance, but will otherwise stay at this defensive outpost until the end of his days. But then there's a buzzing sound near a familiar tube, and Zordon enters the tube. Alpha doesn't know how this is possible, saying when he saw the explosion, he activated the temporal beacon just like Zordon had told him. That saved Zordon, drawing him into the tube. It also, as we've seen demonstrated, lets him see across time, showing him their true purpose. Fast forward to present day, and the Alpha 1 Megazord tells the Rangers he still means them no harm. In fact, he feels that they can still learn to work together, despite saying that he planned to replace them in the last issue. He asks if they want to fight forever or want to win. He lets them think about that while he heads for the command center to deal with Zordon. Jason says Billy is on deck, asking how they can escape. Billy feels like the power blaster could break through the shield, but they can't summon their weapons inside of it. Then Goldar shows up, seemingly to gloat, asking the Rangers how it feels to be betrayed and humiliated. The Rangers tell him to get lost.
I hate you. I hate all of you. I dream of the moment when I bathe this blade in your blood and burn this pathetic world to ash.
He then breaks the shield, telling them he won't be robbed of that moment by some machine. The stunned Rangers summon their Zords. Kind of a neat splash page of the Rangers summoning their Zords, but it feels kind of like a stalling tactic. This isn't something that we really needed to see. Onesie blasts the command center from above, which is draining the shields and the base's power reserves. Five Alive says they can't hold out much longer, but Zordon says they won't have to. The Rangers get there in their Zords, frustrating Onesie. Jason calls for Dino Frenzy formation, which is basically the Zords attacking from multiple vectors at once. Onesie can keep track of a lot of things at once, but the Rangers do manage to get a hit in. Onesie loses an arm from that attack, but it was a trick to lure the Zords in close. He slams the T-Rex Zord against a cliff, upsetting Trini, who dives in without thinking. Onesie does something. He grabs the Mastodon Zord, throwing it at Trini's saber-toothed tiger, but somehow also regrows an arm in the process? The individual Zord thing really isn't working out, so the Rangers form the Megazord. They go straight for the Power Sword finisher, but Onesie dodges it, and as he points out, the swing requires a commitment that leaves an opening for a counterattack. However, the Rangers say that isn't their only weapon, hitting Onesie with Horn Lightning. However, Onesie isn't phased, blasting the Megazord down. They can't get back up right away. Onesie walks over, takes the Power Sword, and stabs the Megazord with it. He tells the Rangers they risk their lives to protect Zordon, but if they die, he'll just find new Rangers, and never even mention them dying for him. Billy tells Jason the Megazord isn't going to be walking without repairs. The Rangers call Zordon and ask what they should do. Zordon has a plan, something Onesie won't see coming, but needs the Rangers to distract Onesie. If the Megazord can't walk, it may as well roll, and they reform into tank mode. They fire on Onesie, who blocks and fires back, telling the Rangers they should have stayed in the shield, and he was only trying to spare them. Zordon sent them into battle unprepared, and nobody is coming to save them. They are brave, but really robots are better for this sort of thing. And you know what? Zordon agrees. Because in flies Alpha 5 wearing the Triceratops power armor.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy!
Billy calls Five Alive and tells him the weapons are voice activated. He grabs Onesie's leg with horn chains and rips it off. Onesie asks if that's supposed to stop him, and Jason says no. But the tank mode's blaster finisher might do it. Onesie's Megazord falls flat, deactivating. The Rangers celebrate, and Five Alive is okay, but may have broken the suit. Zordon tells the Rangers to find Onesie. They search the wreckage, and Trini eventually finds most of him. He congratulates them and says they can continue this as soon as he pulls himself together. Five Alive says, nah, that's okay. He'll rebuild and modify Onesie to Zordon's specifications. Onesie tells Five Alive that he, of all people, or all robots, I guess, should understand that a robot's body is just a shell, and this shell has one final task. Yeah, that beeping indicates a self-destruct, and after ominously telling the Rangers that he'll be watching, he explodes. The Rangers get up, having survived the explosion. Zach laments thinking Onesie was a friend. Jason says at least they won, but did they? Zordon agrees, telling the Rangers Onesie is resilient, and if he returns, they need to be prepared. On the moon, Goldar begs Rita for forgiveness. She asks which transgression he wants to be forgiven for. Failing to bring her a ranger for the dragon coin? Or, freeing the Rangers so they could save Zordon. She magically shackles him. He says this is their fight, and he couldn't allow the machine to rob her of the glory of victory. Fienna begs her daughter to be merciful.
Would you like to see how merciful I can be, Mother?
Rita then magically tears off Goldar's wings. Yeah, that's where they went. She asks Fienna what part of Goldar she'd like her to remove next, but Fienna says this is why Rita was able to summon her. This moment, a chance to be guided back to the light. Rita says yes, her mother can help her. Not just anyone can be brought back from the dead. It must be a strong spirit, a worthy soul. Yes, Rita realizes that she can sacrifice her mother's spirit to unlock the dragon coin. Fienna prophetically tells her daughter this will not end the way she wants it to, but Rita says there's only one way to be sure. Knowing Rita means to go through with this no matter what, Fienna tells her that no matter what happens, no matter what Rita does, she will always be watching over her. Then she drops another prophecy that will later come to pass, that eventually Rita will be redeemed from evil. Rita raises her staff and destroys her mother's spirit. The spirit power enters the coin, unlocking it. Goldar doesn't know what to say, but Rita just tells him to get out before she takes more than just his wings. Gogo has never been afraid to mess with the timescape to tell a good story, so let's fast forward a few weeks. The juice bar has been fixed up, Ernie saying that Angel Grove came together to help. Billy gets a spinach smoothie, and Ernie talks about the Rangers saving Italy the other day from the Vitruvian Manster. And you may be starting to see where this is going. I feel like this is a good moment to just take a second and directly address what is happening here, just in case if you didn't pick up on it, the rest of the story will make sense. Yes, Go-Go Power Rangers has now looped around to where Mighty Morphin Power Rangers began. These two stories were always actually one, and now Go-Go has reached the point, actually just past the point, where Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic series began. Interesting moment here with Ernie. Billy feigns ignorance of the Rangers having been in Italy. Ernie says that the responsibility of protecting the entire world must be exhausting. Billy goes to pay for the smoothie, and Ernie tells him that it's on the house. Jason and Trini are training for the Karate Expo, and you might notice that Trini has let her hair grow longer. Jason is distracted because Trini is really pretty. She lectures him, asking him if he wants this, because if he does, nothing else matters. When something is important enough, you push all that other stuff aside, no matter how much you care about it, if it's going to put people at risk or keep you from what you're supposed to be, then Jason realizes they're not talking about the expo anymore. Yeah, Trini and Jason aren't dating when MMPR starts, so it's time to wrap that story thread up. She tried to keep this to herself until after the match, but the two of them can't be together while they're Power Rangers. They can't keep it a secret, since Kim almost got it out of Trini, but it's more than that. You may have noticed that several times during fights, Jason and Trini jumped to protect each other, endangering both themselves and the other Rangers. Jason has to agree and says the two of them will at least always have Brielle. Quick page here reminding us of how Rita kidnapped Zack and offered him the Green Ranger powers. Kim's turn to see the guidance counselor. In fact, her mother called and asked her to speak to Kim. She stalls on the word divorce, and Kim gets frustrated. She's a big girl. She gets what's going on. Her parents won't talk to each other, so they try to communicate through Kim, leading her to not want to speak to either of them. Miss Pruitt says divorce is complicated, but Kim doesn't see it that way. The counselor points out that there are lots of legal and financial ramifications that can keep divorcing people from just saying the things they want to, besides the emotional reasons. Kim sees that as an excuse and says if you care about someone, you just say that stuff. The counselor asks if there's ever been a time that she couldn't tell someone how she really felt. Oh, and by the way, remember that you are a captain on the Sea of Life. Kim gets a surprised look on her face, realizing she has been in that exact situation, and Miss Pruitt tells her that matters of the heart, that's never not going to be a pun for Kimberly, can't just be ignored. This is the slight stumbling point of merging the stories of these two series, as we see the scene where Zach tells Zordon about Rita's offer, but now we get it through the filter of the onesie situation. It created tension between them, but now Zach understands where Zordon was coming from. Zordon admits that when he was first asked to oversee this war effort, he refused, wanting a simpler life. Destiny had other plans, but that desire for a simple life for himself transferred over to his Rangers. He will do anything to protect them, so one day they can have that kind of life. Zordon realizes Onesie was right about one thing. His desire to protect the Rangers actually put them in more danger by limiting what they could do. Zach says they are ready to do more, and Zordon agrees, saying it's time to trust them as much as they trust him. They are not his children. They are the Power Rangers.
The Epilogue!
Yearbooks have come out as the school year is coming to an end, and you might recall that this is how we met these Rangers, with their yearbook captions. Kim is 16, most likely to win a Pan Global Games medal. Her best date was at the county fair, but which one? And she'd tell her future self, nice haircut. She sees Matt, walks up to him, and hugs him, apologizing. He does as well, and she walks away happy. Billy is 15, Trini is 16. He's most likely to invent the next smartphone and wishes he could teleport. Trini wishes she could visit the moon and is most environmentally conscious. Oh, and her favorite color is red. Billy has changed his look, matching his more nerdy look. Bulk and Skull approach, but no water balloons this time. This time it's with a microphone and camera. They are starting a YouTube channel, Ranger Station. They are huge fans of the Rangers and figure they deserve some more representation. And they could make some of that sweet, sweet YouTube ad revenue in the process. Zach is 16, flirts with Angela, has the best smile, and was voted class clown. He thinks the best school rumor is that the Power Rangers are students there. And he thinks it's been a pretty good year.
Maybe this year will be better than last.
Ernie gives Jason some last-minute coaching. Jason is 16, wears athletic headbands, and doesn't care where he will be in 5 years as long as his friends are there with him. Well, if my math is right, in 5 years he'll be scuba diving with Kimberly, so yeah? The Rangers are all there telling him to focus and get ready. But his opponent looks formidable, one Tommy Oliver. The fight begins as this story ends. Whenever you're talking about an oversized issue, and by the way, this is exactly a double-length issue at 40 pages, the biggest question is whether it was just laziness or a money grab motivating it, or whether it truly needed to be as big as it was. Did Forever Rangers need to be an oversized issue? Yes. And no. There are two distinct stories in this. The wrap-up of the battle with Alpha 1 is really the 21A, shall we say, while the wrap-up with the Rangers' lives themselves, moving into the MMPR portion of the story, that's kind of the 21B, and it really is just a little bit more than the epilogue that my cutaway joked that it was. However, as I've said in the past, the best comic books are a mixture of action and story. Issue 21A would be all action, and issue 21B would be all story. So these two stories really did need each other to feel complete. The fight with Alpha 1 was exciting and action-packed, and the human resolution stuff just puts a really warm cap on this arc of the story. Forever Rangers gets a 5 out of 5. However, this is not where this story ends. When Forever Rangers was announced, many people assumed that it would be the very last issue of Go-Go Power Rangers, especially since it had been established that the Go-Go story would end with the Green with Evil story. However, you don't end a good thing while it's still good. Unless you're Star Trek The Next Generation, I guess. And as I mentioned, Go-Go Power Rangers will continue with issue 21. But now that Forever Rangers is, shall we say, in the books, we can move on to the necessary evil reviews. It is finally time to see the world that the Rangers created after the events of Shattered Grid when I take a look at Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issues number 40 and 41. That is going to do it for another comically long review. Heroes, thank you so much as always for watching. In the comments below, let me know what you thought of this issue and my review of it. What did you think about the oversized issue thing like I was talking about before? Were you happy with this issue, the length that it was? Or would you have rather had an issue 21 and 22 that were the Alpha 1 fight and then the resolution with all of that other stuff? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're down there, make sure you smack that thumbs up button and let me know that you enjoyed this video. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel to see all of my videos and ring that bell. Get those notifications all set up so you can be notified whether it's by that letter banner that you see being pulled behind the airplane or a really old like SMS text message on one of those old brick cell phones or some form of mental telepathy YouTube might be testing out of when I post brand new videos such as these comically long reviews. And if you'd like to lend any financial support to my channel, head over to ko-fi.com/OrangeRangerVideos where you can buy me a coffee. Those are set at $3 and I would greatly appreciate any of them I find at that site. Until next time, heroes, may the power protect you. Ranger Slayer, the Grave Zord, and central to it all, yeah, I actually want to, because that the back cover has Alpha 5s, or Alpha 1, so I should mention Alpha 5. We get Rita Repulsa, Goldar, Alpha 5. Wow. And this is a wraparound cover, and the back side gives us a look at some of the villains. Alpha doesn't know how this is possible, saying he saw the explosion. He activated the temporal beacon just like Zordon. Wait, farts! The Rangers get, oh God. Jason calls for Dino Frenzy formation, which is basically the Zords attacking at multiple vectors from, They fire on Onesie, who blocks and fires back, telling the Rangers they should fire on Onesie, who blocks and fires back, telling the Rangers they should fuck. He'll rebuild and modify Onesie to Zordon specialists. Fiona begs her daughter, Fiona. These two stories were always actually, in fact, one. And it is a little bit more than the farts. Issue 21A would be all story farts, making Forever Rangers something that feels more than like the sum of And if you'd like to contribute to my channel in any way financially, you can head over to ko-fi/OrangeRangerVideos. There's a dot. That's going to do it for another comically long